In the heart of the city, a battle wasn't being fought with guns, but with words and data. Dr. Camille Hayes, a brilliant sociology professor, stood before the city council, armed with facts. Her research showed that increasing the police budget wasn't the answer to the city's problems. She was articulate, calm, and her arguments were irrefutable. But some people don't like being challenged, especially by someone they see as an ivory tower academic. And for Dr. Hayes, this public critique would lead her from the podium to a cold, sterile booking room. She was arrested on a flimsy charge of disrupting a public meeting. On the street, the arresting officers were professional, but once inside the precinct, the atmosphere shifted. The air grew thick with resentment. In the booking room, Dr. Hayes met Officer Sarah Jenkins. Cuffed and compliant, Dr. Hayes simply asked for what was her right. Pointing to the department's own rules posted on the wall, "Officer, may I please call my lawyer?" Officer Jenkins looked at Dr. Hayes not as a citizen, but as a threat. The professor's calm, educated demeanor was like a red flag. "You're not in your ivory tower now, Professor," Jenkins sneered. "You follow my rules." What happened next was not about procedure, it was about punishment. Jenkins grabbed the handcuffs binding Dr. Hayes's wrists. Ignoring Cammie's immediate cry of pain, Jenkins didn't just check the cuffs, she weaponized them. Using her key, she cranked the ratchet, tightening the steel cuffs until they bit deep into Cammie's flesh, cutting off circulation. The pain was immediate, searing, a white-hot agony shooting from her wrists down to her fingertips. "Now, sit down and shut up," Jenkins muttered, turning her back on the professor's pleas. For hours, Dr. Hayes sat in that cell, the malicious restraint doing its silent, devastating work. The sharp pain slowly gave way to a terrifying numbness. Her hands, the tools of her trade used for writing, typing, and sifting through delicate research, were becoming useless appendages. When she was finally released on bail, she didn't go home. She went straight to the emergency room. The diagnosis confirmed her worst fears: bilateral radial nerve palsy, also known as handcuff neuropathy. The nerves that controlled the fine motor skills in her hands were severely damaged. The deliberate, sustained pressure had crushed them. A professor who couldn't write, a researcher who couldn't type her career was suddenly in jeopardy. Meanwhile, back at the precinct, Officer Jenkins was busy orchestrating a cover-up. She knew exactly what she had done. She filed a false restraint log, a complete work of fiction, claiming the cuffs were applied loosely, 2 fingers wide, and that Dr. Hayes made no complaint. Then she moved to destroy the most crucial piece of evidence, the supplemental handcuff use report. This paper form would have documented the timeline and details of the restraint, exposing her lie. Dr. Hayes's lawyer knew they were in for a fight. Proving malice is incredibly difficult. Without video of the actual tightening or a witness in the room, it was Dr. Hayes's word against a police officer's official report. The case seemed to hinge on the medical evidence. A neurologist was brought in, and his testimony was chillingly precise. He explained to the court that Dr. Hayes's injury wasn't just a simple case of over-tightening. The specific pattern of nerve damage, its location, and its severity was a textbook signature injury. It was the kind of damage seen only when handcuffs are used with malicious intent. Cranked down and left for a prolonged period to inflict maximum pain and injury. The injury lined up perfectly with the moment Officer Jenkins took control of the restraints. The medical facts pointed to a deliberate act of brutality. But the real breakthrough, the smoking gun, didn't come from a doctor. It came from a quiet hero in the records room. Maria, a civilian clerk, was responsible for processing and scanning precinct paperwork. She had seen Officer Jenkins's frantic attempts to alter and then shred the handcuff use report. Jenkins was trying to erase her crime from the official record. What Jenkins didn't know was that Maria, due to a small backlog, had already scanned the original unaltered form just minutes before Jenkins tried to destroy it. This low-resolution digital scan became the most important piece of evidence in the entire case. It was a ghost in the machine, a digital echo of the truth. When presented in court, the scan clearly showed that the original report had been filled out by the initial arresting officer who had applied the cuffs correctly. Jenkins had taken that report, falsified it, and then attempted to destroy it. The cover-up was exposed. For the jury, this was the final piece of the puzzle. The attempted bureaucratic fraud proved the intent behind the physical injury. It showed that Officer Jenkins hadn't just made a mistake. She had committed a calculated act of violence against a citizen for daring to speak out, and then used her position to try and get away with it. The lie on paper proved the malice in her heart. The verdict was swift and decisive. All charges against Dr. Hayes were immediately dismissed. Officer Sarah Jenkins was fired from the police force and criminally convicted of aggravated battery for using her restraint device as a weapon. Dr. Hayes received a landmark civil settlement, compensating her for the extensive physical therapy she would need and for the income she lost while she couldn't work. But the victory went beyond just one case. The city was forced to fundamentally change its procedures. The old paper logs, so easy to falsify and destroy, were abolished. In their place, a new tamper-proof digital restraint documentation system was implemented. Now, every report is automatically time-stamped and uploaded to a secure central server, creating an unalterable record. Officer Jenkins' attempt to hide her crime in a paper shredder ended up creating a system of transparency that would protect countless others in the future. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the smallest piece of data, a single digital scan, can be enough to bring the truth to light and secure justice for all. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more content that uncovers the truth. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.